Hi everyone, this is Michael with the Central Kansas Library System. Today, I'm going to be showing you some highlights from the 23.05 Koha update. For CKLS libraries, that update is going to be happening on Friday morning, January 19th. I'm not going to show you all the changes, of course, but I will show you some of the things that you might notice or that might be helpful for you. If you want to skip to a specific change that you're interested in, look at the YouTube comments, find the chapter that you want, and click on the timestamp to skip directly to that chapter. There's no need for you to watch the whole video if you're just interested in one thing. But right now, I'm going to start with cataloging. This first update to cataloging is going to make it possible for staff members who are logged into the catalog to mark a catalog record as needing attention. In other words, if you find a record that needs to be updated, maybe it's incomplete or maybe it's got incorrect information, you can notify us by using this new feature. Let's take a look at what that looks like. I've started by running a catalog search, and we want to click on a title to go view the detailed record. And let's pretend that this record is a really bad record. Maybe it's completely incorrect, or maybe it just has hardly any information on it. If you go up here on the toolbar and click on New, you can go down here and there's a new option called New Catalog Concern. If you click on that, it asks you to add a title, but the title is optional. And then it's got a box that's pre-filled with a default error message. You can go ahead and skip over that because it's not really an error message. And then at the end, you just type in the problem that you have with the record. So for example, let's say incorrect author information. And once you're finished with that, then you just click Submit. And we see a box right here that says, your concern was successfully submitted. Next, we're going to take a look at circulation. And our first circulation update is an improvement to the bundles and how bundles work in Koha. If you're not familiar with bundles, it was a new update that came last summer of 2023, that allows you to put a bunch of items into a single itemed bundle so that you can scan one barcode and check out all of those items to your patrons. It's great for checking out kits and things like that, as long as all the items inside of it are barcoded as well. One of the drawbacks of the bundle was that when you checked it back in, you had to check in each individual item's barcode, or else it would mark them lost. Now, there's an update that if you don't want to scan every single barcode, you can just skip that and say, I have all the items, click one button, and it checks them all in for you at once. If you want to learn more about how to set up a bundle, you can look in the video description, and you find a link to another video from Bywater Solutions that tells you how the bundles work. But right now, let's take a look at this one. I've got it set up as a test bundle, and as you can see, it's already checked out to my patron. Let's pretend that the patron just returned this kit and I want to check it in. I'm going to go up here to check in and scan the barcode. We get a pop-up box that shows us all of the contents that should be in this bundle. For this one, we've got 4 items. And so you've got a couple of options now. You can either scan the barcodes here and that checks them in individually. And if you do that and then confirm check-in and mark missing items as lost, that's going to check in all the items you scanned, and then any items you didn't scan get marked lost because it assumes they're not in the bundle anymore. But now we've got this new option to confirm check-in without verifying the bundle contents. That means if we click this, we can skip scanning all of these items and just check everything in at once. And it's all checked in. Our next improvement is the ability for patrons to start receiving hold-filled digests instead of individual hold-filled notices. So for example, if you've got a patron who placed a bunch of items on hold and they get 5 items coming in about the same time, if you scan those items and check them in one by one, they will get notified that the items are available, but they're going to get a single notification for every single item you scan. If somebody's got a whole bunch of holds that come in at the same time, that can be pretty annoying, especially if they've got text messages turned on. Now we've got the ability to bundle all of those notices into one message, whether it's email or text messages. If you want to turn that on for a patron, you can go to the patron's record and then click on Edit. And if you scroll all the way to the bottom of their patron account, right here we've got the messaging preferences, and then this line right here that says hold filled, you want to make sure you have at least a text or email or both option selected, and then make sure this box right here is selected that says digests only. If that's selected, every time they get items checked in, they will only get one notice, one email, or one text message instead of a bunch of them. Something else that's new on patron accounts is the patron messages are now editable. If we look over here in the right side of the screen, we've got a message here that we added, and previously, if you made a mistake on a message or you wanted to update a message, you couldn't edit it once it was created. You had to delete it and then add a new one. Now, we've got a button right here that allows us to click on, and we can edit what the message says. If you need to modify a bunch of patrons at one time, that's called batch patron modification. And previously, you could only do that from the batch modification tool, and you needed to either copy and paste the patron barcodes, or you had to create a patron list and use that list to modify patrons. Now, it's a whole lot easier to modify a bunch of patrons at once. You can do it directly from a patron search. So let's run a search. And let's say I want to modify these top 3 patrons. Before, again, I had to copy their card numbers or their borrower numbers or put them onto a list and then use that to run the tool. Now, if I select these 3 checkboxes next to the patrons, I get this new option up here that says Batch Patron Modification. If I click on that, it will take me directly to the Batch Patron Modification tool, and then I can make any changes to all these patrons that I want to at one time. This might be especially helpful for somebody like a school library who might regularly modify lots of patrons at once. Some of your libraries might use linked accounts, and linked accounts mean you have to select a guarantor, or in many cases who is the parent, and a guarantee, who in many cases is a child, and it's kind of a parent-child account relationship that links the 2 accounts. There's a new improvement that allows you to see fines that a guarantee or child account might have when you're viewing the parent account. To see that, we can go and click on Details. And if we scroll down to the contact information, here we see the patron's contact information. Beneath that, we see here's the list of guarantees. There's the name. And right here it says, patrons' guarantees collectively owe $5. That way you can see them here in one place. Right now, the See All Charges link doesn't seem to be working. Hopefully that will be fixed by the time we have the update, but if not, you can always click on the guarantee's name to go to their account. And then you can see the fines and charges right there. And finally, let's take a look at some improvements to the batch modification tools. That includes batch item modification and batch item deletion. The new update basically makes it a lot easier to tell when there's a potential problem with items that we're going to modify or delete. To show you, let's take a look at cataloging, and then we're going to go to batch item deletion, and I'm going to enter the barcodes for the items I want to delete, and then I'm going to click continue. And now we can see there's problems with all of these items. Previously, it would just have a little checkbox over here, and if it couldn't be deleted, that checkbox would be grayed out. That made it kind of tough to see when you're scanning through items, especially if there's a really long list, when something isn't going to be deleted or modified. Now, it makes it really obvious. It highlights it in yellow, and it's got a red X over here. The X actually shows you what the problem is. So if we put your mouse on top of the X, it has a little pop-up. You probably won't be able to see it on the recording, but it says item is checked out. Item is checked out. This one has a hold on it, and this one also has a hold. This makes it really easy to see when you're doing a lot of items at once, if there's items that won't be modified or won't be deleted. Now there's 2 more things that I want to show you with the batch tools. The first is an update that will allow you to very quickly clear out a lot of long overdue books, and you can batch modify them so that they are removed from circulation, but they still get charged to the patron's account. Previously, you had to go into each individual account and change those one by one. The second is a report that now exists that allows you to download the results of any batch tool that you use in case you need to save them for future reference. So let's start. Let's go to the batch item modification, and I'm going to enter my barcodes. Now, if we scroll down here, we've got all these items selected. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom here, and right here under options, we have a question that says, do we want to check in the items? No or yes. If we select yes, we can see there's a note here. And what the note says is, items are not marked found, nor do damaged withdrawn statuses prevent this return, nor are item locations updated. This feature is intended to allow removal of checkouts from patrons' accounts without affecting fines or other statuses. So if you remember how Koha works, you cannot delete an item if it still is checked out to a patron. But you might want to keep a charge on the patron's account. So what you can do with this tool is, if you select a bunch of long overdue lost items and run a batch modification on them, you can select yes, I want to check them in. What it will do is it removes them from the account so they can be deleted, but the patron will still have a charge and their accounting will still show they owe a fine for this lost item. If you're ever doing a long overdue lost cleanup, that will save you a ton of time and headache. Now I'm going to quickly show you the other update, which is allowing you to download reports of batch modification. I'm going to change the collection, and I'm going to save to make the change. It says the job has been queued, which just means it's working on this in the background. I want to view the details. And here it tells me I've got 6 items modified with 8 fields modified, and this shows me all the things that changed. However, if you used this before, you probably know these reports can be tricky to find because they're kind of buried deep within Koha, and they don't last very long. In order to save server space, we clear them out after only a few days. If you want to keep track of these for your records for some reason, that can be kind of annoying. But now, if we look down here in the corner, this little button right here, we can export it. And we've got a few options. We can export it into Excel, we can export it as a CSV spreadsheet, we can copy all the information, or we can just print it. And that's just an overview of some of the major changes that you'll see. Again, nothing too earth-shattering, but there are some new features that I hope will be really helpful for you as librarians to help you save time and have a better workflow. If you have any questions, of course, feel free to contact us. Here at CKLS, we're always happy to help. Hope you have a great day, and I will see you next time.